Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. It's been a little while since I've done one of these videos, but I've got my hands on the new Aputure Lightstorm Mini 20 kit, so I'm keen to give that a test this afternoon. It consists of two daylight heads, which are at 7300 degrees Kelvin, so they're a little bit cooler than normal daylight. It also includes a bicolor head. Now, the bicolor head isn't quite as powerful as the daylight heads, so that's something to consider when looking at your different setups for this kit. What I do love about these little units is that they're focusable and they come with pretty groovy barn doors, so you can get pretty creative with how you shape the light. There is a massive amount of gear that comes included in the kit. Of course, you've got 3 lights, 3 stands, 3 Sony NP F970 batteries, battery adapters, crab clamps, a ball and socket head for each of the lights, AC/DC power, 3 chargers, D-tap to XLR cables, and even some tungsten filters for correcting the daylight heads. They're pretty simple to operate. The daylight heads just have a brightness control on the left-hand side and a flood spot wheel on the back. As you can see, the spot varies from 80 degrees all the way down to 20 degrees. And the brightness level starts at 20 and goes all the way up to 100. With the Mini 20C, which is the bicolor unit, the brightness dimmer wheel on the left-hand side also doubles as the control for the color temperature. All you have to do is press the little button in and it will switch between color temperature and dimmer control. Power switch on the back, as well as the little XLR socket for plugging in whichever type of power source you wish to use, whether that be the Sony batteries, AC adapter, or you can even use a USB cable and plug it into a USB battery pack. I'm not going to spend too much time going through all the technical stuff today because what I want to do is shoot with them. So I've got a model in this afternoon and we're going to do a Film Noir portrait, which is going to look pretty cool. So let's get stuck into it. Right, I've got lovely Rielle here with us this afternoon. We're going to do our Film Noir portrait using the Aputure Mini 20 kit. Just going to show you what effect these barn doors have, and this is the kind of main reason I really love these lights. Just turn this one on here. Just notice how well we can cut the light into a tiny little shaft, so we can create some really dramatic effects. You can see that appearing on the background as well as across Rielle's face. So I'm going to use this a bit today, using some nice shafts of light to create some really dramatic portraits. Okay, so as you can see, we've set up one light at the moment, which is creating a nice little shaft of light across Rielle's face. I'm going to do a couple of shots now just to show you what that one light is doing. Maybe use your other hand for the smoke. Yeah, that's it. So as you can see, we're lighting her face really nicely, but the rest of that scene is very, very dark. So what we need to do is add in a rim light, and I'll do that with the second daylight head. Power that down a little bit now, so we just get a subtle backlight on Rielle. Let's see how that looks. Right, it's probably a little bit too subtle on the back of her head, on the hat, because it is black against black, so just need a little bit more light to give that separation. So that backlight is now on 80% and the main light is on 100%. Yeah, that balance is looking really, really good now. really good, Rielle. Just keep the hand up onto the left hand on the suspenders a little bit higher. Yep, and bring the hand with the e-cigarette up to your mouth. That's it. And just take it away from your mouth a little bit. That's it, good. All right, that's looking pretty good, but we need to have something of interest in the background because the background is pretty much black at the moment. So I'm going to add the third Mini 20, which is the color head. I'm going to try and create a little shaft of light coming across the background. Let's see how that looks. Might have to adjust the exposure a little bit, but this is looking pretty good on camera. Just chin up a little bit, Rielle. That's it, perfect. Awesome. Do you want to have a look at that? That was without the shaft. It really needs the shaft light, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
I think I just want a little bit more of that light on your back of your hat, just to give it a little bit more separation. So I'm just going to adjust that a little bit, just bringing it a little bit tighter rather than a little bit closer, rather than powering it up. Also just making sure that I'm not lighting the shoulders too much with this backlight because of the white shirt. I don't want that to blow out. Chin up a little bit again, that's it, perfect. Just going to bring this background rim light around a little bit further so it lights the front of the hat a touch more. And I'm still just tweaking this background light a little bit. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good now. You'll notice that I've now kind of lined up the background light, that shaft in the background, to mimic the light that's falling on Rielle's face. So it looks like it's coming from the same light source. I'm just going to now adjust that shaft of light from the main light, just to try and get a tiny little bit more light coming down her chest. There we go. So I've just rotated the barn doors. So instead of going straight across her face like it was before, it's now angled down. So it's hitting the shoulder and her left hand as well. So let's just see how that looks. Yeah, that's looking pretty good to me. That's great work, Rielle. Thank you very much. That looks really awesome. Okay, so I'm really happy with that first setup. I just want to change it up a little bit now, make it even more dramatic with a really strong profile look, so we can try and get some smoke coming through the shot as well. So I'm going to move that front main light to position slightly behind Rielle's position. So it's acting pretty much like a backlight as well. Now Rielle will turn and face in straight profile, looking back at me. That's it. And just turning your shoulder back to that front camera position and face back around a little bit more. That's it, just there. Let's have a look what that looks like. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'll just do a test shot. And I'm going to move this hair light or hat light a bit back around a little bit further again. So it's on a similar plane to the main light now. So effectively both lights coming in from behind Rielle's plane.
Yeah, that's really showing the smoke a lot stronger now.
That's fantastic. See that smoke showing up nicely now.
There's a tiny bit of a draft in here, so it's going that way.
Yeah, I might actually turn the aircon off for just a second, which will probably also help the audio no end. But it is summer in Brisbane and it's damn hot, so I'm happy to put up with a little bit of distracting background noise to stay cool. But let's try that again without the shaft of air from the air conditioner. That's it, cool. Yeah, just see if you can really blow it forward, because at the moment it's kind of drifting up behind your head.
That's great.
Okay, I'm going to just change my angle a little bit now and get a really strong backlit shot. It's going to really show the smoke quite strongly. So I haven't really changed the position of the lights at all, except I've just raised the height of that backlight, which is lighting the top of Rielle's head and her hat. And that's the light now that's going to give us all that backlight. This shot looks fantastic in a portrait orientation. I'm going to do a couple of landscape shots as well, so it fits in with the video. Now I have got the stand in the background, just over Rielle's left shoulder, as well as a bit of other lighting equipment that's in the back of the studio there, but it's quite dark and I can darken that down in post so it's not that visible. Just changing my angle slightly, so I'm getting a slightly lower angle. And I'm just cropping that background light out just at the top of the frame. All right, just a couple more of the smoke. Thank you, Rielle. Coming for a nice, really tight shot now. I'm getting a slight bit of flare from that backlight now coming into the lens, but it actually looks quite good. Beautiful, that looks really good.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. All right, I'm really happy with those results, and I hope that's given you a little insight into what you can do with these Aputure Mini 20 lights. Great that you can focus them with the Fresnel head, and the barn doors are fantastic just for shaping the light. Just one thing I'll mention with the barn doors, they work best when the zoom is actually at its widest setting, so the flood setting rather than the spot setting, so just remember that. A couple of little things that I didn't quite like about the kit is the ball and socket heads are really tiny and flimsy, so they're actually quite difficult to maneuver around and don't hold the light in a really accurate position sometimes. So I think a better ball and socket head, or better still an umbrella tilt bracket kind of thing would work a lot better in the kit. I know they are trying to keep the weight of the kit down as much as possible, but Aputure, that's something you could consider, especially when you can use these lights quite effectively with an umbrella. One other thing is they aren't particularly bright. I am shooting, say, at 800 ISO at f2.2 or around f2.5, those sort of apertures. So you need a fairly fast lens and reasonably good performance at higher ISO levels with your camera to get some good results out of this. I think these would work really, really well as accent lights in conjunction with a bigger, stronger light, which you can put in a softbox, something like the Aputure COB 120. That'd be perfect to put in a big softbox and use as your main light with these three smaller lights as your kickers and rim lights and so forth. I think that'd be the ideal setup and probably something that I'll look at adding to my kit in the future. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Rielle, for doing a great job, looking amazing. And we'll see you in the next video.